Hello, good morning, America. Welcome to the Daily Reform. Here we have multiple reformers who are ready to talk about their contribution to American society. Here we have Emma Willard. So how did your upbringing contribute to your interest in reform?
Well, my father always encouraged free thinking from when I was a child. I think he saw the passion that I had for education and he wanted me to continue it. He usually included me with the rest of the family when we talk about things like politics and philosophy and math. I was given a basic education, but due to my father's encouragement of learning, I always yearned for more.
Okay. So, Emma, what have you done for women's education?
Well, for starters, I began teaching at the school where I was educated in at the age of 17. I opened a boarding school for women because I wanted to improve the curriculum that the girls were being educated with. I also wrote a letter to legislator which allowed women's schools to receive the same funding as men's schools. And the Troy Female Seminary, the school that I opened, is the first school to give women a higher education.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know.
So, is it true that you were actually against suffrage? Doesn't this go against women's rights?
Well, I believe that it's really just not the thing we should be focusing on. I think we should really take everything one step at a time and focus on the important things first. And women receiving an education should be a priority before anything else. I'm not against women having a say, but in terms of priority, the right to vote is not something we need right now.
Interesting. So, we know you are a big supporter of women's education, but what are your views on the highly controversial topic of slavery and abolition?
Well, this topic has actually been quite controversial for me. I do not believe that slaves should be completely free or become citizens. However, I do agree that the current situation is definitely not the best. I think that a good compromise would be to remove the current slaves and send them back to Liberia. However, this would only happen if they were able to work as indentured servants for a while.
Okay, well, back on the topic of women's rights, how would you like to talk about the multiple books and textbooks that you have written?
Well, I saw that women were not being given the same education opportunity in terms of subject that they learned as men. I figured that no one else was going to be writing these textbooks, so I decided to take matters into my own hands. I wrote textbooks about science, politics, philosophy, and many other things that women weren't being exposed to in regular schooling.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure. See you next time. So, next on our show, we have Lyman Beecher. Welcome, Lyman.
Thank you.
So, tell me about your career as a priest.
Well, I first started out in East Hampton at a Presbyterian church, but because of my large family, the salary was not adequate, so I left. Then, in 1810, I became a minister at a congregational church in Litchfield, Connecticut, and I was there for 16 years. Then, in 1826, there was a Unitarian crisis in Boston, so I became the minister at the Hanover Church in Boston, and my last position was at Lane Seminary in Boston as a pastor and a leader there.
So, you have 13 children, many of who have become notable figures. Can you talk to me about some of your most notable sons and daughters?
Sure. Well, my most influential daughter, Harriet Beecher Stowe, wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, which was an inspiration to many Americans to abolish slavery. My other daughter, Catherine Beecher, was an activist for women's rights, and there was also my son, Henry Ward Beecher, who was a clergyman and a social reformer.
So, can you tell me about the Lane Rebels controversy that you were involved in?
Sure. While I was at the Lane Seminary, I handed out pamphlets on abolitionist students, and this inspired many of the students to become abolitionists. However, many of the students were from the South, and slaveholders from Kentucky who were related to the students became angry and came to Lane to incite mob violence. And to stop the chaos, the school was forced to ban talks about abolition.
Wow, that is intense. Can you tell me about some of your books?
Sure. I have written 8 published works: Remedy for Dueling, which was published in 1809, Plea for the West, 6 sermons on temperance, sermons on various occasions, views in theology, skepticism, lectures on various occasions, political atheism, and I am currently revising past works and creating new ones in New York where I live with my son.
Well, these are such amazing things that we're learning. Thank you, Lyman, for being on the show today.
Thank you.
We hope to have you here again.
Hello, I'm Jonathan, and I am here with Amelia Bloomer. What reform movement are you most passionate about?
Wow, that is an impossible question. I'm passionate about so many reform movements. I consider myself to be an advocate for temperance, suffrage, so many things. However, I am a publisher, activist, fashion designer, women's rights activist, and journalist.
Wow, that's very interesting. You're interested in fashion design. Am I familiar with your work?
Maybe. I'm definitely an advocate for a more comfortable dress style. I was just really tired of wearing such, constricting corsets, and so were many of my friends, such as Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. We just decided that it was best we started to promote more comfortable clothing. Loose top, short skirt with pants underneath is the way to go.
Okay. It is my understanding that these loose pants have started to be called bloomers in your name.
Oh, I cannot possibly take credit for all the hard work that I participate in. But yes, the bloomer is sort of a lifestyle. I'm actually wearing them right now. You should read my newspaper, The Lily, to read more about fashion and comfort.
I heard that the Lily is pretty notorious for its articles about temperance. Why are you so passionate about this?
Liquor means alcohol. Alcohol means poison. Why drink poison? Drinking can only lead to neglect of duty, moral degradation, and crime. No good can come out of drinking liquor. Lips that touch liquor shall not touch mine. Temperance was the main focus of the Lily for a while, but women's rights have recently become my main focus.
Are you planning on expanding your career at all? What's next for you?
I plan to just continue to write articles for the Lily. I believe that writing is the best way to talk about modern issues. Nothing can be reformed if no one is aware of them. I don't plan on exploring any other reform movements because I'm so passionate about these. I'm going to continue to walk and talk and write about them as much as I can. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot, and have a good night.